again, my friends, and today we're going to be building and painting this German paper panzer E-50 75 tons. And as soon as I get... Wait. Where's it? Oh, wait a second. I know what I do with it. Here it is. As you can see, I've already built it, and I've already had some trouble with trumpeters, sometimes awful, rubber tracks, as I do not recommend this kit for beginners that don't want to deal with terrible rubber tracks from this kit. But now, let's begin priming the model with this Tamiya Red Oxide Primer, as yeah, it is a little bit of cheating, as it'll help set us the base and help make sure the paint will stick on as we later apply on our thin layers, as you will see here in a minute. Now that you can see that the paint is dry, you can see that it is very dark, as we want to make it lighter. So let's begin painting it with flat red and scarlet red, which is a very almost light pinkish red, which if you want to fade this paint and make it look bigger than what it actually is in such a small scale, I would add some white or maybe some other beige color to help bring up the tones of the color and the red oxide paint. But this is still entirely up to you if you want it this dark, and it's really up to you since it's your model. Now to add some more vibrant tones, I mixed this life color paint fluorescent orange with the flat red color that you saw me use earlier, as you want this to be thinned down into like a wash consistency or almost like a glaze, as you will go over this pass of many layers on the paint and also focus on certain highlights and areas that you want to be differentiated from say like this little rear turret hatch that I want to be sticking out more than the main base. So let's see what we can do with it. Now let's begin painting the other parts on the model, like the main cannon and some other various hatches, to give it some nice color variation. But you may want to add a little bit of white to some of these colors, as you may see later on, and also by the thumbnail you may have seen of this finished tank, that it will be lighter than what it'll actually be, so especially since weathering and other things like dust will help tone it down. And of course, I create my own adjustable Tamiya dark brown acrylic wash, as I pretty much apply this on all my models, as you may or may not have known me for a while, that this will help accentuate little details and create fake shadows around certain parts, as also it could be considered the first stage of weathering your model if you wanted to give it a nice dirty look of maybe some grime or some dirt. Now for the hand-painted factory markings that you would see in historical photos on tanks being built in the factory. They would either use chalk, or it's also, like I said, hand-painted markings. So they don't always have to be perfect, but like me, and if you are me, I'm gonna come across some mistakes. So it's okay to mess up every once in a while. As if you are having trouble when painting this on, I would recommend some paint retarder, as it'll help out a lot, as that even if you do screw up the hand painted marking, you can easily remove it with just a cotton bud and water. I then mix together as our sort of first stages of weathering the lower hull and tracks of flat earth, buff, and deck tan. You can mix these in however color variation and choosings of what you want the earth weathering to look like on your model. It's entirely up to you. But I would sort of want this to be a more, you can obviously tell with more saturation, or as you can also see here, I have my own self-created, homemade texture paste, acrylic texture paste, made with hard pastels and Tamiya acrylic paints. And you will see that it'll nicely be removable on some parts, maybe not the more thickened, heavier weathered parts, as I obviously plan to add some moisture effects on other parts of the model. And for that, we use black gray and gloss varnish from Vallejo so that it is nicely thinned, as you don't have to be super perfect on the sometimes straight streaks, or maybe it's more running down, as there might be a little bit of rain moving down the tank. As also it can be used to help create some grease stains or some also other fuel stains around the model. Sorry if I'm a bit early here in thanking you all so much if you've managed to make it this far, in finishing this video, but I'd also like to let you all know on the planned future little diorama I have for this German E-50 Standardpanzer, and it'll be very exciting as it'll be my first attempt on sort of creating an abandoned garage filled with many other unfinished paper panzer tanks that the Germans never finished. Thank you all so much, and I'll hopefully see you all there.